1 in 3 is intended for mature audiences. Episodes contain explicit content and may be triggering as they often include violence and other varying forms of abuse such as emotional, psychological, sexual, and physical. In most cases, names have been changed to protect all involved. Please note, statements and opinions of guests do not necessarily reflect those of my own. Hi, Warriors. Welcome to 1 in 3. I'm your host, Ingrid. Yesterday, my guest, Michelle Johnson, detailed her experience with domestic violence. Today, we learn how she turned tragedy into beauty. Here is part 2 of Michelle's story.
She and I moved all my stuff. We actually hid my vehicle and the moving truck in plain sight. A friend of mine had worked down the street from my apartment. That's where her office was. So she let us just hide my vehicle there. It's not a place, unless you just looking, you're not going to look there, basically. So we had to park there, and I went to stay at her house. And when he got off work, he went to my mom's house. He literally went to every person that he knew that I knew house. It was probably 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. Because my mom was calling me. Everybody was calling me. I didn't answer the phone. He called me probably about 100 times. He even came to the house where I was at. And as soon as that door knocking, all I remember is just rocking. I remember rocking and freaking out, and my friend coming in there hugging me and said, shh, because her mom stayed that day because she knew what was happening. So her mom answered the door, and he kept trying to make his way in there. And they had a gun too. And she was like, either you're going to leave or I'm going to get this gun, or I'm going to call the police. I'm going to let you decide. And he was like, well, where is she? And she's like, I don't know. We haven't heard from her. Because he was, he went to he knocked on my mama's door 6 o'clock in the morning, and he's knocking on my mama's door looking for me. Because like I said, we took everything. He's like, well, there's nothing left in the apartment, and she's gone. And then the police came to my job and, served us some papers. All that happened in the same day. I know that they did give us the longest restraining order that was possible. I think it was 8 to 10 years. And even in court, the judge had to reprimand him because he kept trying to talk to me. When they had me on the stand, he kept trying to talk to me. He kept trying to apologize, kept trying to say he loved me. And the judge is like, is something wrong with you? Do you not understand that there was a restraining order and you're in court and you're still trying to talk to her? And then when court was over, they had us go, separate. They let me leave first, and I had to completely leave and go down to the little office, and they let him leave. They wouldn't let us leave, separately or together. I mean, at the same time.
Wow. Where the hospital failed, when they're stitching you up, you work in the hospital. I've worked in the hospital. There's education on picking up on things like that. So I feel like that was a failure of the staff there to not get you safe. And I know in a lot of the instances, if somebody does have the opportunity to confide in the medical staff, they probably won't anyway, and they'll leave with their abuser. I know that happens quite often, but I think that was a failure. But my gosh, how awesome for all of this to happen because of a welfare check. That actually really surprises me because I feel like in stories that I've read and people I've talked to, I feel like the biggest fallback or the biggest, I can't think of the word, but it's law enforcement that needs more education because it's they don't pick up on things and hospital staff do, but this is opposite. And I think it's so great that officer is this is what's going to happen. That's amazing.
Yeah, he was really nice. He was a really nice man, and he really helped me. My cousin in Colorado is actually the one who called him because she wasn't able to get a hold of me, but he wouldn't let me have my phone. So I couldn't. I even remember whenever he would get mad, I would start cleaning. And when I cleaned, I always made sure I went to the dishes, where knives and stuff were, because I knew when he got mad, he was going to come for me. It wouldn't even be anything about me. He would just be mad. It's because he was mad, he was coming for me. So when I started doing stuff and cleaning whenever he got mad, he started kind of backing up because he's like, okay, hold on, because I always would stay moving.
Is your restraining order still in effect or did it expire?
I think it expired by now. I know, I think it was 3 years back, a friend of mine, she actually said he had inboxed her on Facebook, which he knows that was my friend because he's went to dinner with us. And she said the moment she seen it, she said she just blocked him, and then she called me and was like, I just wanted to let you know.
Is that the only instance you know of that he's tried to contact somebody that you know?
The only one that I've known.
Okay.
Yes, that's the only one that I've known. I don't know any he's tried to, because I've changed my names on my social medias and stuff, and I made sure to block him. So I don't know if him or anyone has tried, or or I disassociate so much sometimes. So if I would have seen him in public, I wouldn't have known, because I can't help but disassociate. Like literally being with him, I disassociated so much just so I could find a place where I didn't feel like I had anxiety.
Well, and I think that's what our brains do. Our brains do whatever it takes to give us peace and make us feel safe, because I think dealing with this level of trauma, if your brain didn't put up these barriers for you, it's too much to handle.
You're absolutely right. Like I remember when I first left him, I would use the bathroom in the bed from that trauma. I would be so embarrassed and I'd be so hurt, and I would call my psychiatrist and they'd be like, "Baby, that's the trauma." They said what you're feeling is actually pretty normal. And I'm like, "But I don't like this." It was scary for me. It was really scary. I was on so much medication, like trying to help control my emotions, because I would be at work and I would just start crying. Or if I see somebody that's a victim, it would make me have anxiety. And I even had to take off work for a while because my mental was so gone. Because like I said, I had literally just left him and moved to Little Rock. I moved probably about an hour away.
Do you think he has any idea where you are?
I have no idea. I have no idea. But I know if I were to see him, I probably would fight him before he would fight me.
So back to the book. You said there's pictures. Did you draw pictures or are there actual photograph pictures?
I have the actual photographs of what was done to me, like my face, my hands, the bruises, the stitches. I have pictures of that stuff. And there also are pictures I drew, because I went into a very, very bad depression after that. Like I felt like I know that trauma changed me. Like I feel it changed my voice from being choked so much. I know it's changed my mental. I know I have a lot of memory loss from it, because I mean, like he literally choked me just about every day. And like I made sure I put, sleeping stuff in his food, just so like he would be so deep asleep, and I literally would go into my closet and just sit in the corner and just sit there and just to sit there, just to not have him on top of me. Because when we're sleeping, he literally was on top of me, so because he would think I would leave while he was asleep or something.
So I want to, just because we're talking about like when you were leaving and you did it so well, you had help to sneak out. I do want to point out again to anyone listening that the most dangerous, you had horrific, scary, dangerous things happen to you. And the most dangerous time in an abusive relationship is when the victim leaves. And or in other words, when the abuser feels like they have lost control. And that's always the most dangerous point of that relationship. So if there's anybody that is looking to leave, just understand that and do it in a safe manner. And it's usually good to not tell your abuser you plan on leaving. Don't give them a heads up, to just do it.
Anybody. Only one that knew was the officer and my friend that helped.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. I didn't even tell my family.
And that's exactly the way you need to do it, because I think, especially given his level of aggression, and you take all the statistics into account, I think if you would have told him you were leaving, well, and his threats, he threatened that he would find you. And I think it would have turned out drastically different if you would have told him that you were leaving.
Oh yes, I didn't even have any money when I had literally got a place that I couldn't afford. I moved with nothing. I didn't have any money. I didn't have anything. I just had a vehicle, my stuff, and that's it. Like I struggled for a little bit, and I found like different programs that actually helped me, finance and everything. Because like I don't think I paid my rent for like 4 months, because I didn't, when I moved, I told the woman what was going on and everything when I was leaving. So because I couldn't do it anymore. For me, killing somebody was like I didn't want to. It's not me. It's not my personality. But I would have done it versus being killed. And I knew I had to go, because I literally was planning to kill this man. And that is not anything I would ever want on my soul. That's not something. It's bad enough I see his face, on certain times, or there'll be days where literally feels like my neck is swelling. Like I feel like I'm being choked. I wake up in the middle of the night grabbing my neck. your body really does have a memory, and it remembers everything that's happened. Like sometimes where he cut me will hurt, and I'll look and it'll be about the time that it happened. Like I even have the pictures from the day it happened. Like we were at Six Flags. I took him to Six Flags. We were like happy, wonderful. He was like acting like he was the best thing in the world. To just this thing, that night I'm bleeding everywhere. We're in the elevator. People are looking at us, and he's sitting here like I almost felt like I was gonna faint because I was just bleeding. I'm in the elevator doing like this, and he's sitting there, don't act right, and I'm like, you act like I'm trying to act like this, but nobody said anything. And I don't know if it's because people's fear of saying or being involved, or if it's just the fact that why say anything and she's gonna go back. Because I can see a lot of people that, especially in the healthcare field, and police, they do like, why do it for them to go back? And I completely understand, but at the same time, it's not like it's something that we just want to do. Like I know I wanted to leave. I know it wasn't good for me, and I wanted to go. But at the same time, when I was away, I felt like I was going crazy. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. I just felt like I couldn't even be still. Like I was staying with my friend. I just kept having, I gotta leave. And she's like, Michelle, calm down. I'm like, I don't know why, but I can't. I just felt like I had to leave. I felt like I couldn't be there. I had to just be out in the car driving. Like, I don't know, that trauma bond is so real. It is so real, and it is so strong.
It really is. And I understand what you're saying too with the law enforcement and medical professionals getting frustrated. And even, sometimes they see the same person come back in over and over again. And it's just like a big sigh. But the thing is, it's still so important to say, like, we're here, we can help you. And eventually, hopefully, that person's going to take up that offer. I have a friend whose family member was strangled by her boyfriend. And this friend is like, what do I do? She doesn't want to press charges. She doesn't. And I said, you cannot force a victim to do anything. And it's heartbreaking to watch, to just stand there more or less on the outside watching them get abused. But you can't force them to do anything. But you can say, I'm here for you when you're ready. I will do this for you when you're ready. And I guess, that's kind of at this point the best you can do as somebody trying to support your friend. But you lose friends, because your friends.
I did. I lost them. You're absolutely right.
Your friends don't want to deal with it.
I lost a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And I don't blame them because it hurts. Especially be caring somebody. It hurts to see somebody in that situation. Especially like where you can just leave. But I don't even know why people can't seem to understand that it is not that easy. It's easier to say I'm gonna walk away, but it's hard to physically walk away because that person is literally like a drug and you are like the addict for them. Like every time I leave, I feel like I'd be like I would feel like I just couldn't breathe, like panic attacks, and it wouldn't let it happen until like a day or two later. The first I'd be like, okay, I'm ready to go, and I'd be gone. The next thing I know, I'm like waking up middle of the night doing that and sweating and cold sweating. It's crazy. It is crazy.
Absolutely. The people that I'm meeting through doing this are incredible. The majority have been women, but men as well. Just absolutely incredible. And I know when some people get out, they just want to escape. They never want to think about domestic violence or abuse again. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. And that's good for them, and go be healthy. But then there are some who are like, what can I do with my trauma to help someone else? And it's so, I don't want to say it's cool, but it's really, I guess, empowering to be part of this community with like the worst fucking hazing to get into it, because you have to go through all of this crap to understand. I mean, you can be an advocate and not be a survivor, but for those of us who have gone through it and have survived this crap, to turn around and say, like, what can I do now for the next person? Let me pull somebody up. And what I liked about what you said was, if this helps one person, and if your book helps one person, it's completely worth it. And I agree.
Yeah, because that was so scary. Like it's just, And it's crazy because I can see, if anything, I can see vividly. I can still see the gun in my face. I can still see the smoke. I can still feel it when he pushed it against my forehead. I can still hear the ringing when he shot it beside me. Like, I even can still hear the crunching of the leaves under my feet as we're walking into that property. Like, that is something that I will never, ever, ever forget. Like, he always called, like, in my book, like, I haven't put anybody's names in the book. I mean, it is like to protect everybody, because I know there are people out there who go and hurt people like this. But I mean, I'm pretty sure suffering, you will always suffer for what he did. But in the book, I wrote that to him. He's gonna know who he is, because he always called me Lena, because my middle name. That's what his name for me. So in the book, I made sure to put Love Lena, so that he knows it's about him, because that's what he always called me. Like, he even, like, at one point, the first time he ever put his hands on me, he did have his mom check him into the little crazy place. And then when he went there, because I went and stayed back with my mom, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe he actually is trying to do this for me. He does love me, and oh my God, I mean something to him because he's good to help. Girl, no, that didn't do nothing to make it worse. He in there flipping beds that I bolted down on the ground. They had their beds nailed down in there, and I guess the roommate made him mad. And they said that he done broke the bed up and then threw it against the wall. And I'm like, oh my. I just
Yeah.
wish that I wasn't so hurt to be loved that I did that, because I just wanted someone to love me. And I guess I felt that because how he made me feel, that his love for me was like everything. Like, I was just everything to him.
It is like a drug. You just get hit, like you get walloped with this love. And when it starts to slide down, all you're doing is just you're chasing it. You're trying to get it back. And you're like, what can I do differently? What can I change? What can I do to get back to where we were?
Right, because I was trying to figure out what I needed to do with myself to make him happy, thinking it was me, and the whole time it wasn't. Like, I really had it convinced in my head that I was the problem. Maybe I'm not loving him right. Maybe I need to fight, because my mom was a lady that said, you fight for your relationship. And I'm like, shit, I'm being fought just cause, like, man.
Right. And I think that's another thing is everybody says, and when you're in a relationship, when you're with your partner, like, you have to fight. It's work. And then there's a misconception of like, well, how much of this am I supposed to be fighting for? Because it's also not supposed to hurt, and if I'm crying all the time, if I'm hurt all the time, physically, emotionally, or whatever, then maybe this isn't what I'm supposed to be fighting for. And love's supposed to be a partnership. It's supposed to be two people working together to make it work.
You're absolutely right.
Ugh. Okay. So let's talk about the Kickstarter. You have a deadline.
Yes, but even if the deadline is not met, I'm just going to relaunch it, because my book launch date is for November.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, so even if it doesn't go this time, I'm just going to redo it, but I'm going to be more detailed with it the next time.
Okay. And so, that's exciting. What happens with the book launch? Do you know?
I'm not sure what happens. I just know that the lady is supposed to put it in Barnes and Noble, Amazon, and Walmart.
Oh, awesome.
So I know that's where locations. And since I have talked to you too, I've been thinking a lot about what I can do to help victims. And I've been thinking about doing a journal. I'm gonna call it "These Flowers Are for You." And the reason I call it that, because everybody wants to be like, you're staying, and they make the person that's in the relationship feel bad for staying, but I don't want them to feel that way. I want to make a journal. So regardless if they choose to stay or they choose to go, if they choose to stay and something happens, people will have that journal so they can at least read what that person went through. That's why it's called "These Flowers Are for You."
Oh, I love that.
I'm going to put in the journal different ways, different like meditation, different prayers, different affirmations, different help, because a lot of the reason why we stay is because we ourselves are insecure. Mm-hmm. That's why we stay, because we're thinking we can't find anybody else.
Well, and you believe.
So I'm doing this book. Yes.
Believe all the bad things.
Because I didn't think I was. Yes, I didn't think I was pretty. I didn't think I'm like, I can't get anybody like this. And I mean, but it wasn't true. So I'm gonna put "These flowers are for you," because these flowers are for you. If you're living, these flowers are for you, because you can celebrate the fact that you got out of it and you can see your progress. And if you happen to stay and something happens, these flowers are for you when you're gone, so that people can know what really happened to you. So that's my next one that I'm going to have out is that book. I started making the covers, and I've started doing the pages and everything. I just haven't got it quite ready yet to be launched. But that is my next one because I want to help in a way that doesn't make people feel like they have to feel they make you feel bad for staying. They really do. And I don't want people to feel bad for staying because I understand. I get it. Because it is so hard to leave. You know in your head it's not right, but your body and your heart, you're just torn between the two emotions. It's hard. So I want the person to be celebrated, whether they're able to get out of it and be like, this is my story, or if they lose their life, then their story is still there as well.
I love that. That's beautiful. And what a creative title for that too. I really really love that.
Because I believe we should all get our flowers, whether we be living or gone. These flowers are for you. And I'm gonna have each cover is gonna be a different flower, like a rose. I start the rose petal one. You know, like I had a resident at the hospital. She had some long stem roses, and I took a bunch of really pretty pictures. So that's gonna be the cover. Like each one is gonna be different. Like there's gonna be yellow roses, red roses, black roses. It just depends on the person and what they're going through. Because each flower has a significant spiritual meaning. So I'm going to put the meaning of each one in the book so that the person can get it, based off what they're going through. And it's going to be like a journal so their abuser won't be so much trying to take it from them because, they will. So I want it to be like a journal so they at least feel like they have an outlet. Because growing up, writing is the only way I had to express myself. And when you're in a situation like that, it's hard to talk to people. It is really hard. But at least if you have this, you can help yourself.
I love that. That's great. And it's therapeutic. Like, journaling is there. I'm awful at journaling. I try and I get annoyed with myself. So I'm not one that like I have so many journals throughout my life and there's like 1 or 2 pages and then like I would doodle. But I love how you're taking your talent and you're putting it, your talent and your trauma, and then you're putting it toward something to help other people. And that's what is so incredible about this community is everything that we do to help other people. I was going to mention that you do have a profile that is going to be linked to this episode. So it will you have your social media handles are on there, and then you have a link to the Kickstarter.
Yes, because I'm going to gift you a copy of it and a copy of These Flowers Are For You Too, because I feel like we all deserve our flowers. Whether we're living or we're not, we deserve these flowers. Everyone's story deserves to be told. And abuser and the victims, you don't have an outlet, even in therapy. Like, I mean, I love my therapy, but still, it can only do so much. You have to help yourself too. And I feel like we as women need that.
I think that's great to have the journal, like what you were saying. Everybody's story deserves to be told. Is there anything that you would like to say to just like as we're closing up?
I can read. I'd like to read some of my part of my
I would love
book.
that.
Yeah. This is just a little piece of it. The sound of a gunshot reverberated in the woods. It splintered the tree beside me. The sound was so deafening, my ears were ringing. All I could do was shudder at how close it was. The whisk of the bullet left the right side of my face frigid and numbed. The sauntering effects of the gunshot shaped me into this cold and catatonic state I'm in. He was yelling and screaming and reminding me that the bullet inside the chamber was for me. All I could do was cry and beg for my life. It was so long ago, yet it feels like it just happened. Like, whew, like that is the part that I hear and remember the most is that. Like that double barrel. When I say the most vivid thing I see is that gun. I can see it like he's pointing it at me. I can see him and that gun like it's right there now. Like, people always wonder what goes through your mind at that very moment before you anticipate the actuality of what waits in the afterlife, the eternal life. I thought about my actual existence, the choices I made, the people I've met. Who would miss me? Who would actually be happy that I'm dead? Yes, as morbid as it sounds, I know that someone would be. Then I thought again, it's rather unnatural to be upbeat about a merciless murder, and particularly a slaughter, because he was happy about it. Like he was sitting there acting like it was just another day, and I'm over here like, nah, I'm about to die. Like I knew at that moment, I was finna. I seen it. I seen myself dying. Like I just wanted my mama to be able to find my body. That's all I wanted, because I know, that's gonna leave your family kind of feeling some type of way that you're gone.
Michelle, thank you again for your time and reading part of your book to us, and for all of your work that you're doing to help other victims. It was great to have you on.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. Anytime, just let me know, because I'm trying to help people. I know there's a lady I met that she works for an organization here in Arkansas that is for domestic violence victims and substance abuse, and she wants me to come speak at that as well.
Oh, do it. You have to do that. Oh, I mean, if you don't have to,
yes,
but
I am. Oh no, I am. I want to. I'm trying to help as much as I can, because people are just becoming desensitized because everybody goes back, but they don't understand the reason of why they're doing it.
Right. Well, thank you again so much. And I would love to have you back on after your book launches and just kind of get an update on how everything's going.
Definitely. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Ingrid.
Once again, I would like to thank Michelle for sharing her trauma and her plans to help others in their journey. We used the term trauma bond frequently in Michelle's episodes, and it is widely referred to when discussing domestic violence. In case you're not familiar with the definition, it is an emotional attachment that is formed in an abusive relationship. The bond is formed as a cycle of violence continues to revolve. The cycle involves tension building, the actual abusive incident, reconciliation, which can include an apology or even ignoring or denying anything happened, and finally, a period of calm or honeymoon period. The parts of the cycle can occur in any order. The point of the cycle is to provide an unsure, disruptive environment that leaves the victim confused. In that confusion, and while desperately clinging to the calm or honeymoon phase, is where the trauma bond attachment forms. Another point we mentioned at the end is Michelle's Kickstarter. Remember, her profile is attached to her episodes on the 1 in 3 website. It contains a link to her Kickstarter to help get her book, Beauty and the Beast Within, published. Don't forget, she also has a journal, These Flowers Are For You, coming out soon as well. Thank you for listening. I have included Michelle's bio link and sources for this episode in the show notes. I will be back next week with another episode for you. Until then, stay strong, and wherever you are in your journey, always remember you are not alone. Find more information, register as a guest, or leave a review by going to the website 1in3podcast.com. That's the number 1, IN, the number 3, podcast.com. Follow 1 in 3 on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at 1 in 3 podcast. To help me out, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. 1 in 3 is a .5 Pinoy production. Music written and performed by Tim Crow.